Where is she?
No, Rick, no.
Oh, no.
When Rick believes his group members are dead, he diverts his eyes, exhales strongly, and touches his mouth. He diverts his eyes, which is called a distancing behavior, and seeing the blood causes him large amounts of stress, and his brain protects him by diverting his eyes. The exhale and the touching of the mouth are both called pacifying behaviors, which are used to help calm ourselves down when stressed. In our brains, we have what's called a limbic system, and that part of the brain is tasked with releasing and regulating the stress within the body. It causes us to do these behaviors as a means to get rid of the buildup of stress. Also, Rick keeps gesturing with his gun, or trying to gesture. He wants to speak and to say something, but the stress is so high that he can't actually say anything.
Herschel!
You didn't find him?
I thought maybe they came back out here.
What about T? Carol?
They didn't make it. That doesn't mean the others didn't. We're going back.
Sorry for interrupting, but please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks. When Glenn says maybe they came back out here, Beth does a pacifying behavior with her hands. She fidgets, which is a common sign of stress. We fidget as our nervous system is aggravated and lets off the stress by doing that. When Herschel asks about T and Carol, Rick does another distancing behavior. He looks at the floor and tenses his brow. He doesn't want to see Herschel's reaction to them dying and diverts his eyes to again protect himself. Both Glenn and Daryl also do distancing behaviors here. They both look away from Herschel. Rick then does another pacifying behavior. He touches his head, showing high levels of stress.
Daryl and Glenn, you go with me.
Rick's brow tenses and he opens his mouth. This is a strong sign of the shock response. When we go into shock, our brain prepares us to encounter a stressor, and we open our mouths to increase the levels of oxygen in the body to help increase the chances of survival should we encounter a stressor. Any shock can cause this, not necessarily a threat. Anything surprising can cause this reaction. The tense brow is a universal sign of confusion and shows that Rick is trying to understand what's going on. Maggie then does this strange walk. What this actually is the freeze response. Now, when we encounter a threat or go through significant levels of stress, our brain prepares us to deal with the threat. The sympathetic nervous system chooses one of three responses. These are fight, flight, and freeze. Although Maggie trusts Rick, that's her conscious, not her subconscious. The subconscious is responsible for our more primal reactions, and puts her into the freeze response. This is why she almost struggles to move her legs. Her brain is telling her to freeze and to stop. But her conscious forces her to move, which is why her movements look so strange. She then swallows, which is a pacifying behavior, and stares directly at Rick. Her subconscious is terrified as to how he might react, and she stares at him to get as much data as possible about the situation in order to improve the chances of survival. She then moves her mouth and tries to speak, but no words come out. This is again the sympathetic nervous system. It's telling her not to move, not to make any noise, and to focus on the potential threat, which in this case is Rick. It's very difficult for the conscious to overcome what our subconscious tells us.
Where is she?
Rick then does another pacifying behavior and then shakes his head. He's in denial about what's going on, and again Maggie tried to speak to him but she just can't get any words out. Her mouth tenses, which is a suppression of a pacifying behavior. When we're angry and experiencing stress, our muscles shake as we fill with adrenaline. The conscious tries to suppress the trembling by tensing up, which is what you see Maggie doing here. When Rick realizes what has happened, he begins to exhibit numerous pacifying behaviors. He paces around, which comes under the bracket of fidgeting. He can't stay still as he's filled with adrenaline, and he tries to pacify by pacing about. Also, his brow tenses again, showing confusion.
No, Rick, no.
Oh, no. No.
He tries to keep his composure, but when he looks at Carl, he realizes that he's just seen his mum die. He starts to break down. Rick covers his eyes and his face when he begins to cry, which could mean two things. Either he's trying to hide his emotions from the group as he's supposed to be the alpha and look strong, or he's shielding his mouth to protect it from predators. It's almost definitely the first, as I don't think Rick feels threatened here. Also, he lies down later in the scene, which we wouldn't do if we're feeling threatened. He then puts his hands on his hips, which is a power pose. He's trying to look composed and in control of the situation. We put our hands on our hips, exposing the vital areas of the body to tell potential predators that we have no fear. Also showing to his group that he feels confident and in control. He then continues to break down, mainly because he realizes that he let his son witness what happened and couldn't protect him. Daryl does another distancing behavior, and also his body is tilted slightly. We do this to try and hide our emotions from people, obscuring the face. Rick keeps trying to look in control, putting his hands on his hips briefly before breaking down. He's torn between showing emotion and showing strength. He doesn't know what to do and just drops to the floor, which is literally a grounding behavior, no pun intended. We do grounding behaviors when we lack confidence and security. Being supported by something, be it a wall, table, or even the floor, gives us a sense of comfort the same way a hug does. I really think this scene shows perfectly the struggles Rick goes through. From his body language, we can tell that he's torn between being a strong leader for the group and also giving in to his emotions. He tries so hard to protect his group and others and avoids caring for himself. This, however, finally pushes him over the edge. Super awesome acting here. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.